I'm gonna do my housewife dance. Yeah,
Please don't.
I
Please don't.
know.
You can start hating people
I went
any
there.
second.
I
God.
went there, Jen. I went there. But you know what? We just initiated a few minutes ago. You hit me like a big ton of bricks with your energy out of the
Nice
gate
thing to
for this
say.
one. And I know I wouldn't expect anything less than you're going to bring everything you've got to this show right here to help out some people out there that are navigating themselves through life,
Yeah.
business, entrepreneurship, being a great partner in life with a great husband, great wife, kids, mother, father, sons, all that good stuff.
Listen,
Um,
I don't have all those answers, but I'll do the best I can.
you know what's beautiful about this show is that sometimes it's not about having the answer as much as it is about just your perspective.
Okay.
You
I
know,
can do that.
sometimes it's like you hear something 500 times and then Jen Fessler comes on the show and she's like, well, I tried it this way. And then that for that person, that 501th time, you're like, God darn it, that Jen lady said it the way that I wanted to hear it this whole
I
time.
love that.
I like
Yeah.
think that works. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay, let's do
so
that.
yeah. Rock on. So
Okay.
you just brought up a fascinating point about launching a business in well, should I just say the age? Because you said it. Hey, not me.
Of
At
course.
50,
Oh,
at
please. I
50,
got
right?
no issue with that. I'm proud.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah. You should.
54 now and I'm thrilled about it. So yeah, I started at 50.
So starting a company at 50, what are some of the mentalities or the attitudes that you had to understand to not give yourself more of what traditionally happens at starting later in life or even a
Yeah.
business in general when you're thinking, oh, I do this, or I'm not right for this, or it's not a good fit, or
Right.
what, I'm starting so late.
Right.
I'd love for you just to open up around that and share your
Yeah.
thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. So, I think that when I started my business, I had very little to lose. How's that? So at age
Mm.
50, I'd worked, I had different career paths my whole life. I'm married now 23 years, two children that had just left the nest. And I'd always, throughout my life had these ideas and I thought this is going to be the next big thing. And, Oprah's going to be knocking on my door any second and Shark Tank. But when you're in the middle of a crazy busy, mom, wife kind of life and working, I was always sort of working on and off and part-time. So then an idea comes and then it sort of goes. And then it comes,
Mm.
another one comes and it sort of goes. So this moment in time when I was 50, when I had this idea, it was sort of perfect because I wasn't getting pulled in like a million different directions. And it also felt really relevant to me because my business is based around sort of the idea of ageism and of being left behind when you get to be a certain age. So also going through those feelings and
Mhm.
incorporating those feelings into an actual business, it all kind of made sense. The timing was
Mm.
really good.
Nice. Yeah, fantastic. I love the way you say that. I mean, by the way, I could unpack 30 things in what you just said
Really.
between the the mother of 23 years, or excuse me, the
Yeah.
wife of 23 years, two kids, they left the nest, and
Right.
then getting the business going. But I want to go here because I think this is the next natural question that it led me to, which is, okay, so you're considering all of these ideas that you had during this journey, and you Shark Tank and all these other cool
Right.
things and Oprah.
Right.
At this point, in accordance with the ageism,
Right.
how does it become what it is today? Is there like, hey, I figured there's a problem? Is it I identified that somebody was complaining about how their heel fit and it was just like clicked? Or was this something that you were marinating on for a long time?
Yeah.
What's the genesis of the actual business in there
You know,
beyond, this life experience?
Manny, you probably know way more about this than I do, but I think most businesses, when they're successful, it's because they are, filling in a need. And many times, whoever is the creator of the business indeed had that need. And that's what happened with F.MAJOR. Other ideas that I've had, in terms of like throughout my life, they weren't always necessarily, focused on what I needed or wanted. They were just sort of in the abstract. But the idea for F.MAJOR came to me because it was so personal. I needed and wanted to wear high heels and
Mm.
found at age 50 I couldn't anymore. And it was really frustrating. Listen, there are bigger problems in life. I'm not curing cancer with this.
Yeah.
But having said that, it was very frustrating. And I knew that my friends all around the same age were battling the same issue and really wanted to feel sexy, like heels do make you feel, and like we felt when we were younger, and our bodies hadn't changed and our feet hadn't changed. And we, all of a sudden now we're dealing with bunions and other sort of sexy things that happen to the feet, and plantar fasciitis. And your feet, as you get older, like the rest of our bodies, they get wider and they get softer. So, but in terms of your question, I was really frustrated about something. I started to look into how to fix the problem, and I couldn't find a solution. And that is what, sparked F.MAJOR. And wow, maybe I can actually offer a solution to this problem. Despite all the little voices in my head that were telling me not to, don't, are you crazy? Don't waste your time, et cetera, et cetera.
How did you combat that part? Because I do believe that is a paralyzing part of a lot of what could be great entrepreneurs, or anybody, women, men alike, that want more out of life, but then that voice comes in and it's like, hey, don't do it. You're not worth it. It's not good enough for you. You can't do it. You have a perspective on that for how you overcome that. So like, what would that be for you in terms of suggesting some things back out to the audience?
So the way I dealt with it was to trap myself. And I'll tell you what I mean. I shared the idea with my husband, and then he had the idea to contact a friend who had been in the shoe business, on the manufacturing side. So I reached out to talk to that person who was interested, and he reached out to someone else who knew about this certain technology. And we started, and all of a sudden I was in it, but I wasn't alone, right? I couldn't just blow it off because I was being taken seriously. And then there was the contribution of money, right? I'm not talking about huge amounts, but I'm talking about people are believing in my idea, and they're investing, not just monetarily, they're investing their time and they're investing their passion. And I couldn't squirm out, right? Because I've done that many times in my life. I've done that, started something and not finished it. I can be very guilty of that. So I don't know how to tell other people to trap themselves, but I think that at any point I could have been like, this was a great idea, but you know what, whatever, I'm busy today and I'm just gonna, forget about it and put it aside for another day. So that was my personal experience. Is once I had, a team around me and I formed it really, really quickly, there was no squirming out.
So makes plenty of sense. Almost like throw yourself in entrepreneurship jail, right? You can't leave.
Yes.
You got to figure this thing out.
Kind of. I mean, honestly, and I was so excited about the idea and so passionate about it. And my excitement and passion was contagious. And, even if I wanted to sort of blow it off because it's just too scary, and because there's too much work involved, there was at that point, I had brought in other people, and also their passion was contagious, right? Like, wow, we're really onto something here, and not just like keeping it in my head and letting all my self-doubt, put it down and put the idea down and put me down, because it wasn't just me anymore, right? It was like we were all on the same team. So, I don't know if that could be done all the time, but that's what I think really helped me.
Yeah, it sounds like you ended up having what felt like a responsibility to others in order to deliver. And if you didn't take responsibility, and then it's like, it reminds me of people that, and by the way, I've experienced this in my own life, where it's like, in the past, I would not have got up to go take care of certain things. But now that I have a 5-month-old baby, it's like, I have a responsibility to him. I got to get my, up to go do it. Right. And so business can almost be evaluated in the same way. Right. So that's actually really good. See, so you're sharing right there made me think to now, hey, you all, if you're out there and you want to start something, just the same way you may have a responsibility to your job or to your partner or to your kids, what if you just applied that energy towards your business and go for it?
Yeah. I definitely was able to keep going with my idea and growing it because there were others that I felt responsibility towards. And that's not to say that who knows, if I hadn't, if I hadn't created a team so quickly, maybe I would have still run with it. But I know me well enough to know that was very, very helpful, very integral to have others to answer to.
Yeah, that's big time. Now, you say you build a team so quickly. Is there something innate inside of you, Jen, that drives that accumulation of the right people? Is there some support behind you as part of this? And I
Yeah.
believe you have a partner, correct?
Yeah, I do. Her
Yeah.
name is
Okay.
Sherry
Right.
Friedman.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Correct.
yeah. I don't know that I'm specifically talented in terms of like being someone who can pick a great team, or if I just got lucky. Um, I haven't done it before. So, but the people that I brought around me are still around me for the most part. So Shari was my best friend from college. And
Wow.
I was in Los Angeles interviewing branding agencies, and she lives in LA. And we just sat down and had a coffee. She picked me up from the airport, whatever. And I'm filling her in, and she had the same problem that I did in terms of heels. And we're both sort of like these self-proclaimed fashionistas. And as I'm talking to her about it, I see her wheels sort of turning, and she's very, very different from me. So um, Shari is very analytical. She is very sort of like detail oriented. She's a numbers girl, everything that I'm really not. I'm more sort of like the loosey goosey creative.
Sure.
So she's asking me questions that I can't answer. And they're really good questions that I should be able to answer. And, she starts giving me her input. And by the way, I love her like a sister. So we're enjoying it. We're enjoying talking about it. We're enjoying, just chit chatting. And I don't know, by the end of the coffee, I was like, can you help? You want to come on board? How about we do it together? I'm that kind of person though, that I don't sweat like this is my idea and I don't want to share it. I'm a really good sharer. I'm really
Mhm.
bad at a lot of things, but one of the things I'm good at is sharing. So it just felt like I was getting, the best end of the deal. Like I'm pulling her in. She has a life. She was working at the time. She was freelancing for Snapchat. She'd always done digital media and digital marketing her whole career, 2 babies and a husband and a full life. So I was sort of, she was doing me the favor, it felt like.
Mm.
But we really were left brain, right brain. It was such a great partnership because of that.
Mm.
Shari has all these strengths that I don't, and vice versa.
Sure.
And she's a dear friend, which, by the way, people say don't do business with friends. I'm not going to lie and say that it was always easy. We definitely had very different approaches and times where, we really disagreed. And the most important thing to both of us was always our friendship, right? So it's hard to prioritize that when you're building a business, but happily, thankfully, we are still, the best of friends.
Yeah.
And then bringing in others, we looked for someone we interviewed a lot of people in terms of the technology, and we knew what we wanted. We wanted the shoes to be made in either Spain or Italy. And we met a lot of people that had, different ideas and technologies that they, wanted to share with us. But when we met Roberto Santos, who is our manufacturer in Spain, he's in Alicante, Spain, it was a quick fit. I fell in love with not only the technology he presented to us, but his personality, his background, his passion.
Mm.
He lives in this place, Alicante. It's a small town, and like his grandfather made shoes, and his grandfather's grandfather made shoes. And
Oh
picture
yeah.
like this gorgeous town, and it's all cobblers and people that know every single thing that there is to know
Yeah.
about quality and shoes and leather. So that happened really, really quickly. Like I met Roberto and I was like, okay, will you work with us, please? Um, so a lot, I think that a lot of it, I would like to say it was all my instinct and my ability to see special things and special people. I do also though really think that I got lucky. Things came together fairly easily. And then it was Shari actually who reached out to a company called Red Antler. And I don't know if you've ever heard of Red Antler, but they are a marketing and branding agency located in Brooklyn. And they're like the number one direct to consumer branding agency in the country.
Right.
I never thought that we'd get them. I mean, we pay them, but like they're very like they don't just take on any clients. And so Shari was just bound and determined, and she would not like at first we went to them, we presented F.MAJOR to them. Well, it wasn't F.MAJOR at the time, but they said, thank you so much. We don't think it's the right fit. And Shari was not hearing it. So like, whereas I would have just now said, okay, it was nice to meet you. Thank you very much. Next. She was like, no, 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 no. We're working with Red Antler. And so, she wore them down or whatever it was. And we started to partner with them, and they are incredible. They're this
Mm.
really incredible, talented agency. And then, so they all came on board and we all fell in love at, you know, the folks at Red Antler and then all of us, and started to create this, what I think is like really phenomenal branding around the heels. It's, you know, being 50 and talking about ageism and then wanting a brand that was cool and hip, because I felt like at 50 and feel like now, you know, I'm not my mother's 50. I'm still sassy and I'm
Mm.
sarcastic and I'm irreverent. And I wanted all of that to be part of the branding. And I don't care what my kids say, I think I'm still cool. And the folks at Red Antler are all like totally young and hip and like,
Yeah.
you know, they are cool. So partnering, you know, with them was fabulous. And then trying to, you know, work together to represent that, like, I still got it going on. Shari still got it going on. All my friends at my age still got it going on. And by the way, PS, we have it going on more so than we did when we were 25.
Mm.
And trying to relay that message and then, you know, have them, you know, help to make us, to have our language be cool and relatable,
Mm.
you know,
Yeah.
and youthful, but also smart. Does
Yeah.
that make sense?
Yeah. Absolutely. I adore, that's the word I wanted to come up with. It's almost like you're giving us the DNA of the business. Like, and that's the ethos of what it is you're suggesting and sort of
Yeah.
taking us on this ride in terms of the, you know, the Spain story and
Right.
your branding partners and this youthful approach.
Yeah.
You open up a series of questions there in that piece you just gave to us, which I think was fantastic.
Thank you.
But you talk about, you know, you feel better today than you were, you know,
Yeah.
at 25. Have, outside of the natural evolution of a woman between just
Right.
age and life you live,
Right.
was there a point back in those days where you may have not been the same sassy, confident? Because I was thinking that a few minutes ago. I was like, this woman's got some juice to her, energy. She's going. It's like, and you know, it's like, were you always like that at 16, 17, 18, or did you have a transformation in the early 20s and then you became someone else and then you kept moving on that track? Because I think a lot of people there, you know, at different stages of life are trying to figure out how to hit that turning point.
Yeah.
Right. And so like they
Yeah.
feel your energy and they're like, God, I love that. I want to be a part of that. Is there something there that's a
Well,
recipe for you, or just anything that you could add to that
yeah.
thought right there?
Age. I mean, I will tell you that in my 20s, like, how old are you? Can I ask?
37.
37, your
Oh,
baby.
37. Yeah.
But even like into my 40s, in my 20s, I was an insecure mess. Like, I
Mm.
actually thought you were way younger. I was like, I did not have my shit together in my 20s, right? Um, into my 30s, then I started having babies, and I'm still this insecure, people pleasing, you know, neurotic, which I still am today. But, you know, I feel like I'm still me, the same me that I was at 16, but I know who I am, and it's, please excuse me, because it's going to sound so cliche, but I don't take any bullshit. I am not afraid. I'm not, you know, I basically have no problem. Like, if I can follow my own compass and I could say yes or no, as opposed to doubting everything. I doubted, you know, in my 20s,
Mm.
every move I made. And I wanted you to think that I was great. And I wanted you to think that I was special. And I wanted you to think that I was pretty. And as I've gotten older, I already know myself. Like, I know that I'm special, not just me. We all are, but I'm saying, I know that I'm special. I'm kind of nauseating myself. I know that I'm enough. You know, I know that I don't need your approval, right? To feel good about myself. And that takes, or for me, that took years and years and years. You know, I try to instill those values in my kids to
Mm.
have self-confidence. I didn't when I was younger.
Right.
So at 50, now even at 54, that just keeps growing. My experience has helped me to evolve and to feel good about myself. And there have been many, many times in my life where I didn't feel great about myself. Even today, I mean, everybody has, you know, I still have my insecurities,
Of course.
but I'm just, age has given strength to me, strength to my convictions, you know, strength to who I believe that I am, and to what I can do. And so it's a happy thing aging for me. I really
Mm,
like, I don't have any issue with it. I
right.
think I'm happier 100%. I could say that I am happier in my 50s than I was in my 20s. Different, like my 30s kid, like you have these experience like having babies that is so magical, right? And I'm not, I can't take away from any of that, or whatever it is, or career things that go down, or making special friendships, or traveling. But I'd rather be in my skin today than the skin I was in 30 years ago.
Mm.
That's, which
Uh,
is, great news
yeah.
for babies
So
like you.
yeah, I'm glad you thought I was younger, by the way. Thank
I
you for
did.
that compliment.
I
Yeah.
did.
It's because I stopped drinking 7 years ago. I think that's what's really helped.
Well
Um,
done.
yeah, that was it for me. That was a big moment.
Oh
I
yeah.
I was a Vegas party promoter, host, all
Really?
that good stuff. So I could, and I had traumas when I was a kid, my mom passing away and all those things. But it was gripping me pretty good. So when I gave up the bottle, everything else got much better. So including, I guess, how I look. So
That's amazing, I have
thank
to
you for
say. But
that.
is it right? But you look back and you think the times in your life that people think, oh my God, you must be having the most fun. And you're out there and you're, I don't know, whatever, you're promoting parties in Vegas, right? What
Hmm.
could be more fun than that?
Yeah, I mean,
I mean, I look back at times where I was out in New York clubbing and whatever I was doing, and I would rather be me today any day of the week.
totally. And I think there's a respect for just the season that was. Like that was my 20s.
Yeah.
And I look back now and I think that was a fun time. Like I'm glad I lived that life. I have so many stories and so many experiences around that time and
Right.
got to do and see things that most people will never see. And
Right.
so versus beat myself up because I was high literally all the time and drunk all the time, it's like, well, that was just shaping my story. It was shaping my journey. And look at where we are now at 37, just short 7 years later. So yeah, it's fantastic, right? So it's
Yeah.
again, I think it's shifting how we see the world and how we see ourselves. And clearly you're an influence to a lot of people and you got a lot of eyeballs on you. um, there's a lot of probably the women that are out there that are younger or
Yeah.
just maybe even they're our age, excuse me, my age, or your age, truthfully, and they still don't have this identity of
Yeah.
understanding like you just shared about worth and knowing yourself and the different virtues now that you are comfortable in your own skin.
Right.
Can you take some of the wisdom that you have at 54 now and say, you know what, if you're still younger and you tried this or did that, this could help you? Because I like life will teach you some things just by the years expanding.
Right.
But from your perspective, is there something that you could maybe think or say that would, be a attempt to get better while younger versus having to wait
Right. Yeah.
20, 30 years?
Well, I mean, specifically, I have a 20-year-old daughter. So I'm always trying to,
That's perfect.
impart my
Yeah,
wisdom,
yeah,
to
yeah.
her. And it's, I'm always sort of like watching her and trying not to put my shit on her, say too much, say too little. I want to say to her sometimes though, like she's in college and I'm watching her and we're very close and she's, I know which I probably should is probably dysfunctional, but she's calls me 20 times a day and I want to like change her path. No rage. Don't do that. Don't go there. Don't call him back. I can't, unfortunately, I have to, and I had to learn this through many, many years of therapy. I have to like separate, right? Like she is different than me, but I will tell you that I try to say things that will help, right? I try to say to her if it's a guy and it's always a guy. If it's a guy, she's down and she had a bad night and he ignored her and she can't get out of bed, and try to help her to realize that you don't even know this person. You're giving up all of your energy and all of your thinking and your day, this beautiful day that you've been blessed with, to a person who hasn't earned it, who you don't
Mm,
know. And as opposed to opening your eyes, being grateful for all the gifts that you have in your life. And you have now let this person rent all this space in your head. You know, these are things that I learned when I was her age. I laid in bed crying over whatever guy it was, after every weekend and thinking about it. And is he calling? Is he not calling? So I try to help in terms of what I learned, um, to try to help her in terms of her choosing a career. just took jobs. When I was her age, I graduated from the University of Texas and I moved to New York City. And at first I thought I was going to be an actress. I was not a good actress. It didn't go well. I waited tables pretending to be an actress for quite some time. And then I was like, okay, I have to grow up. I have to get a real job. And I just took whatever came my way. And it was never, I was never led by, wow, I really want to do this, or I'm passionate about this. I didn't take, I didn't step back and plan it. I think a lot of people do that. They're lucky in that way. My husband actually is, he loves his career. He's an attorney, and I can't imagine anything more boring, but for whatever reason, it turns him on. He loves his work and he's a workaholic. But at least he's spending his time doing what he loves. So I try to encourage Rachel and my son actually also, like, let's figure out first what's interesting. I just never did that. I was always just trying to pay the rent, and you have to pay the rent, right? Yeah. You can't, you have to put food on the table. I mean, I'm trying, my kids are lucky in that they grew up not wanting for much, but I'm not here to pay their rent anymore either. So anyway, to try to, in terms of career, let's sit down, let's talk it out. What sounds fun? Waking up in the morning, what sounds fun? Is it event planning in Vegas? Or is it, having your own podcast? And again, these are things that I've learned with age. So what can I suggest to people out there? Well, besides starting F.MAJOR, I joined a reality TV show at age 53. So I guess a message could be and I don't know, by the way, who knows how that's going to go? That just started. That could have been a huge mistake. Right. But I feel like, I'm good at taking chances, and I'm good at just kind of throwing caution to the wind. So that I think is helpful if you feel excited by or passionate about something, to try to, put fear aside. Not always an easy thing to do. I don't know. Am I answering your questions? I hope so.
Oh my God. Are you kidding? I mean, it's beyond fantastic. You made me think about, I was that damn guy back in college and breaking those girls' hearts. God darn it.
Don't piss me off. Okay. I no, so far I'm crazy about you. Let's not turn it around.
Darn it. See, look, you said high standards for me. Now I can't break off of those. My gosh. So you opened up the door for the show, obviously, right? So you said join the show. I bet a lot of listeners are probably thinking, how does that really work, right? How does someone like you on this journey of life? Because I think people have dreams. I think people deep down, I think I always said, I laughed. I said, the musician wants to be a baseball player. The baseball player wants to be the rock star. The guy sitting at home is like, man, if only I could be on TV or do some of these cool things. Right. I think it's great to have those big dreams. And I was like, go for it. Go figure it out. And you said join. How does something like that come to life? How does a series of events all connect dots and then boom, this works out for you? And, it's got you on this new platform where you get to be yourself and just share with the rest of the world who you are, and, really go into the homes, into the souls, into the minds of other people. And then, what's going to be beautiful is you're going to keep influencing people like you are right now. And you're going to be able to share those on a more macro level, which is fantastic. So, give us kind of the behind the scenes, peek, or, I guess you could say the edited version. You don't see it, right? It's just.
Yeah. So, well, I think that, first of all, I mentioned before that I went to New York after I graduated and wanted to be an actress, right? So I always had this thing in me, and I always loved sort of being on stage. I have a good sense of humor, but I like to be center of attention. Not always. I try to be careful that I'm not taking up all the air in the room. Anyway, so being on TV, as crazy as it is, it almost feels like, who knows, maybe, things happened in my life that kind of led me to this. Who would have ever guessed that I would be on the Housewives of New Jersey? That was certainly not part of the plan, but in terms of, having this spotlight, I think that I always wanted something like this. I never thought I would get it.
Yeah.
So, but specifically what happened was, so one of the women on the show, I don't know if you watch the show, Manny, but her name is Margaret Josephs.
Aware.
So you know her? Are you a voyeur? Did you say?
Aware. Sorry,
aware. Okay.
I'm aware. I'm a voyeur.
Okay. Listen, I'm sure there are a lot of voyeurs who watch the show too. So, right. So, right. So Margaret is a businesswoman, and she created the Macbeth collection. Her business, she's been working on that business for years and years. And she was on TV back in the day before Housewives. We have a mutual friend who introduced us, and it was just about business, right? Like, Margaret, there's a woman that I know is a friend of mine, and she also lives in Northern Jersey, and she started a business. Would you, talk to her? She'd love to get to know you. Maybe you could help her out. Margaret, she's always just so generous, with her time and support. She said yes. She spoke with me. She put me on her podcast. She started to introduce me to people. I wasn't paying her. And one thing you learn when you start business is people don't like to do things for free, and she had no reason to help me other than she wanted to help me. Anyway, so we started to get to know each other, and we also just then clicked as friends and kind of fell in love. And our husbands, we would go out, the four of us would go out. We just all loved each other, and it was all great. Margaret was this housewife of New Jersey, and it was crazy. And I've known a couple of the other women as on the show as well. Anyway, long story long, she ended up talking to a casting director about me and saying, you should call Jen Fessler. Unbeknownst to me, by the way. I didn't ask her to. I wasn't, that was not the plan. And I got this phone call. When you live in Jersey, a lot of women get this phone call. Oh, we're casting for the Real Housewives, but you don't really take it seriously.
Right.
So I think once again, it's funny, I kind of trapped myself. Like, I had this conversation and I was open to it, but I was like, are you nuts? But then I had another conversation with the casting director, and she wanted to do a Zoom. And then she wanted me to tape, me in my closet. And I just kept doing the next thing that was asked of me without really kind of like giving it too much thought. And all of a sudden there are 4 Bravo execs, and they're sitting in my kitchen, and, they are interviewing me, and I'm showing them F.MAJOR, and we're going to my basement so I could show them how I set up all the shoes. And, I didn't shut it down. I wasn't necessarily completely open to the idea. It was really scary, but I kept moving. And so eventually I got offered this spot on the show. We'd like to move forward with you, as a friend of a housewife, which I just think is the silliest ever, but whatever. And I found myself saying yes. And believe me when I tell you, it was not a yes that came easily, because fear and self-doubt and all of that, especially on a reality show like this. I mean, it could be really scary, right? If you're a watcher of the Housewives, which I've always been, you see women, and you see, unfortunately, so many times, women's lives just imploding. You see women who are just out to get each other as opposed to build each other up. So why would I want to join a show like that? I had, again, a lot of discussion with my shrink about it.
Yeah.
But, end of the day, it came down to sort of, what is my intention? And I did always want to be on stage. I like the idea of entertaining people. I have stuff that I want to share. I have, ideas and experiences. I have this business that I knew it certainly wouldn't hurt, that I feel really passionately about. And it came to me, and why say no? Right? Like,
absolutely.
So I took that leap of faith, and here we are. I mean, we're only 4 episodes in. So far, so good.
Sure. I'm going to ask you a question that, you go wherever you want with it, but what kind of conversations were you having with your shrink? Like, really? I mean,
how much time do you have? I mean,
well,
you want to sum up the last 15 years?
Where's my therapist at? I'm ready. I'm ready. Here. I just got to sit. Is this how a therapist does it? Sits across from you?
No, that's not how my therapist does it.
Jen.
Yes. My therapist is actually like so funny. I don't know if you've ever been in therapy.
I've been to therapy, yes.
Okay, because I could never do any of this without. I mean, we actually there's a scene in the show about it, because I'm Jewish, and a lot of the women are Italian, and they do not believe in therapy. And I'm like, how does one live without therapy and Prozac for that matter? Like, how does one get up in the morning? But anyway.
Well, they're in therapy. They just don't realize it.
They just don't fair enough.
That's the difference. Yeah.
Fair enough. So, the discussions were, I guess, centered around really like stopping, breathing, and getting in touch with my intentions, and also just the whys of it all. Like, why was I being drawn to this? Right. And what am I afraid of?
Hmm.
And am I going to let fear control my narrative? I don't want to be ruled by fear.
I'm gonna jump in because I want to go into that part there. What were you afraid of? Like, if you wouldn't mind, because I think that's just powerful stuff right here. We start to connect to like the soul
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
process. Like, are you afraid like you're gonna get on the national stage and then people are gonna look at you as if you're this person versus this person? So I hate to interject, but I don't want to miss that opportunity
Oh,
there.
I love that, because believe me, I spent lots of time on that, paying for it instead of I should just called you. But anyway, so I think that we all try to present an image to the world, right? Like I am, and I've unfortunately also, I've done this to my kids. I've made a lot of mistakes in terms of my parenting, in terms of my everything, but this should look perfect. This is perfect. I am perfect. I'm not, obviously I'm way flawed, but I try to present, I am a together person. Um, I am smart. I am funny. I have these children. They are fabulous. They have skated through life, and it's never that, right? For any of us, everybody's a mess, at least in my experience, right? Everybody's lives are sloppy and messy, and God knows mine is, and my children aren't perfect, and I'm not perfect, and all of that. But sort of saying, okay, so I'm going on TV, and people are going to pick up on the fact, Jen, that people who already picked up. Everybody that I'm close to knows I'm a hot mess. But now I'm going to present myself to the world, and I'm going to open up. And what if they don't think that I'm fabulous? What if they don't like me? What if they say bad things about me? What if they find out that my husband and I were separated for a year and a half, and that there was infidelity in my marriage? What about that? What about if they find out that I put myself in a program once for drinking? And do I want everyone to know that? Will that make me, or my childhood that was so messy? So the thing is that putting that on TV, I have at this point in my life very little shame in my game. Like, I have all my experiences. I don't feel a lot of shame around them. Another thing beautiful that comes with aging, right? I own my shit. And then, but scary, right? To think, okay, I'm going to put all of my skeletons, my messy, dirty stuff out there. So a lot of the fear, I think, was probably centered around that. But that also presented me an opportunity, so I could put all my stuff out there and choose, like, not to be afraid and not to feel shame around it, which is what I've done. I mean, I went in to this saying, I'm going to put it out there. And then we had big family meetings about it. Guys, I'm going to talk about what happened with me and with daddy. And I'm going to, I don't have shame around it. And so I'm going to share it. If they want to know who I am, like, that's part of my story. And, happily, I have adult children, and they were good with it. But I think that, facing some of that fear of exposing yourself, right, of being vulnerable and open. And again, I don't want to get ahead of myself. Who knows? Maybe I'm going to look back and with tons of regret and think this is the biggest mistake I ever made. But I think it was good for me in terms of just evolving and accepting myself and being proud of my messy past. So, all of that fear, like, people are going to see I ain't perfect. And people already knew that about me, the people that I have in my life. But the world, I'm not going to get on there and be this, nobody, I think, goes on the Housewives and it's all good all the time. At some point, even if you're loved and admired, then you get the haters. So, which is, I guess, the case in life. But, like, that was a lot of what my fear was about until I had to give up on that. Like, I can just do me. That's it, and enjoy this ride and this adventure.
I'm extremely grateful that you just went there, because I think that is what connects us as humans, is to sort of talk about the things that are protected or guarded.
Right.
Right. It really helps us, reveal that extra layer of humanity. And I
Agreed.
believe that. And you said the word perfectly, vulnerability, right? It really matters. And I think, and you probably felt this too, that when I wrote my book about my journey, Las Vegas, I talked about how when I was younger, I did some things in my relationships, and I, caught an STD, and God, like, that was
Awesome.
self-soothing. Yeah. I was
Yeah.
like, God, okay. Like, because how many other people out there are feeling the same thing, going through the same
Yeah.
things, like, and they're just hoping that somebody else will have the
So
courage
true.
to share it. It's like, God dang, just admit it already.
Don't you find that when you do open up, because I have a lot of very close friends. I've always been a woman with gratefully like a lot of very close female friends. But because I'm so open, my mother would say to a fault, but because I'm so open, I feel like people open up to me very quickly, and you can connect so much in such a different way, right? I
Yeah.
hate those sort of like fake friendships and where everything is surface. What's the point of that, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And but because I do, I'll tell you mine. I have found that then you tell me yours. There's
Yep.
like, I don't, and again, I said this before, but like you just said, the STDs. Who hasn't had an STD? I mean,
Right.
I don't like, what's the big deal, right? And
Right.
when you kind of get rid of those voices and the
Yep.
shame, then,
Yep.
oh, like I can say it now, you say it, and it loses its stigma a little bit.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. Who hasn't had that? Who hasn't been in a bad relationship? Who hasn't thought about cheating? Who
Of
hasn't been
course.
broke? Who hasn't
Yes.
gone through these things? And even if you're going through them, but you're committed to the process of always on the grow, development, progress, self-actualization, then it's okay to level yourself off with these continuums of just pure reveal. I think pure reveal is a great thing. So, okay. So look, this is good. Do you have extra couple hours? We can keep going. Because
I'll make some time for you.
I'll say this is just a warm up.
I
I
agree.
just
I
get
feel
going
the
right
same
now.
way.
Yeah, we just get this party started.
Yeah.
Um, Housewife style.
Yeah.
So I think a couple things that kind of in the context of everything you've said today, and it just like I just get these downloads from up above with what you said. I think you got a lot of excitement going on with the business
Yeah.
and the thrill of being able to do that at 50 and started and going in on it and creating this brand and this shoe line and helping solve this concept of feet, ageism, and all that. And then you got the show, which
Right.
is its own set of excitement.
Yeah.
Is there more excitement towards one or the other, or are you kind of like living in this double world where you're like, how freaking awesome is my life right now, and how blessed am I to do this? And if not, if it's the opposite, then I'd like to know, like, it's tough to do this one over here and then come to this one and be like enthusiastic because we just shot all day and filmed, and now I got to go over here and be there for the team and lift up the rest of them up and all that
Yeah.
different. So I'm so curious around how you kind of
Yeah.
swing on that pendulum.
Unfortunately, I don't think I'm purposeful in terms of like what I'm prioritizing. I think whatever comes at me is thrown at me. That's where my head is. So
Mm,
I'm like, I would go and I'd film all day and I do glam, or I hate that expression, and be all about what am I going to wear and what just happened. And then I would get, an order would come up and I would go down to my basement, and then I have to pack shoes. And I have a customer service call because well, we're hopefully transitioning soon, but I've got a basement filled, like a warehouse filled with F.MAJORs. So, when it comes up, I have to sort of turn and focus. And is one more fun? I think for me, like being really, really busy is the best thing for my mental health always, because I'm not good when I'm left too much time to think. Right.
yeah,
So with all of this going on at my age, I feel like, a happier person. I don't think that either really vies for my attention, one more than the other necessarily. But then then I still have kids, and they would like me to talk to them on the phone as well. And I have a husband who would like me to participate in our life. So there's
sure,
that. And I'm a daughter, and I'm a cousin, and I'm a friend. So, but I don't know that like I can say that like the show stuff is so much better than the work stuff. It's all been a gift. I mean,
mm,
all been also difficult and challenging, but also I feel very grateful, very blessed to
yeah.
have all of this to focus on. Right.
Mm.
And it's stuff that challenges me every day. I'm growing and learning. And so, but I don't know that I choose which one. I think it chooses me.
Sure. That's a
Yeah.
great way to put it. Does someone like you, Jen, have a vision of what you want life to be like now, considering the things you've got going for you today between TV and business and family? Are you saying, hey, at 64, I want to have this? Because people operate differently. Some
Yeah.
people actually paint it out completely clearly to
Right.
themselves and they say, like, I'm going all in on that. Or they're more of, I'm going with the tide. If it takes me out this way, I'm feeling lucky. I'm doing great things right now. What's your methodology on that in terms of what your future looks like and how you would navigate those waters?
You're the expression, we plan and God laughs, because,
I love that.
really, I mean, who knows really, right? But this is what I want. I haven't planned out my life, but I want to be able to feel like I feel today, content, challenged, excited, with or without the show, with or without the business. And I see a lot of housewives go through a lot in terms of, I feel like they a lot of their self-worth is centered on the show, right? It becomes like your life.
Right.
I've seen certainly men and women whose self-esteem is all wrapped up in business, in work. My plan is that at 64, it doesn't have to be Housewives and it doesn't have to be F.MAJOR. I just want to feel, vital. And I hope that I will be, in an ideal world, I'll be on a yacht somewhere, and F.MAJOR, I would have sold it, to Bill Gates. And I could go there for sure, So those are all material things, but that would be good. I wouldn't mind any of that. I'd like to live on the beach, but more important, in terms of like, oh my God, at 64, I have to have made this much money and I have to have had, this much fame. And I'm not going there. I don't know. I just want to keep feeling good and keep feeling challenged and keep feeling excited about life.
That's such a good
Whatever
answer.
form
Oh
it
my
takes.
God. That's such a good answer, because then you create that context for what life could be. You're essentially receiving the same things that you're experiencing today, where you're playing at a high level and you're receiving all these gifts and these blessings, but it's what's going on in the middle of all that that's giving you all that thrill. So it's like, if I can preserve and maintain that, it doesn't matter how old I am, because it's what's making me feel the most alive.
Yeah, that's it. And I'm
good.
telling you, a lot of these women, I feel like the show is everything. I don't want this show to be everything. Maybe I shouldn't be saying that, but I don't. I'm like, I want it to be part of my life that is exciting and scary and everything else, but I can live without it. I'll be okay. I'll be okay without F.MAJOR. I'll be okay in a way smaller house. Like, it's all good. We'll just, I just want to keep being excited by life.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially when you think about how life, I've been saying this a lot lately, because, I've realized, like, my mom passing away young, and it just, lives that just get taken so soon for different variety of reasons. It's like, live today, enjoy today.
Not an easy thing to do, but that is the trick.
No, very true. Very true. Interesting. Okay. So look, combination, and I would also say a culmination of all your different theories, because I'm not going to keep you all day. Otherwise I would. In terms of, like a overarching message that you've got, like this theme of life. And I always challenge people to, forget everything you just said for the last 50 minutes, 55 minutes. What's the theme or the message that if you had one chance to give a 2-minute, 3-minute speech, and the whole world was writing on this thing, and you knew that this message was going to impact everybody and anything.
Killing me. You're killing me. How am I going to do this?
I'm making you go there. You're the one and only Jen Fessler. Come on now. Come on now. If anybody's made for this question, and by the way, I'm going to tell you something. I literally just came up with this. That's how my mind works, just so you know. Like, I can connect points, and then, because I'm so curious, it just comes through me, and I just end up coming up with these questions.
So my shrink always says, it's so interesting, right? Because we're all born with gifts, and this is clearly doing this as one of yours, but they come through us. They are not of us, right?
Yeah.
They are the universe has given us these gifts, and
that's exactly it.
Right. So, so I'm going to say this because it's one, I don't know if I hope it answers the question, but if I'm going to give like a message, and I have 2 minutes to do it, I'm going to give the message. It's really not mine. It's my psychiatrist's message to me, and I try to live by it. Is that, so if life is, this is, say hi to F.MAJOR. Yeah. Okay. So here's life. And sometimes you are here on the bottom and feel like a total piece of shit, and the world has got you down and you're not worthy. Or you're at the top of, like, here you are, I've got everything. I am it, baby. I am a housewife of New Jersey. I have my own business. All of this is all lies, right? Like, up here at the top, you're not better than, anyone else. You don't have more to offer. Down here at the bottom, you're not a piece of shit. You're just as good as, you're just as beautiful as. The trick to life is like living in dignity is the way that she describes it, right? Like I can't, even if when things are going the way they're going for me right now, which is like, it's a very exciting time in my life to understand. It's not that I'm so great and that's why things are going so well, right? I have certain gifts that I've been given and that the universe is, I'm just sort of the conduit, right? To like, whether it's I say funny things or I have this great idea, I'm not a piece of shit, right? I'm just as special and exciting as anyone else. And I'm not better than anyone else, right? But to live in dignity so that no one can take anything away from you. If all of this goes away tomorrow, I'm still sitting in my dignity, right? If all of a sudden I get fired tomorrow and I don't know, my husband loses his job and it doesn't change anything about who I am. I'm not up here and I'm not down here. I'm right here in the middle, you know, sitting out here in, you know, the glory that is who I am, the glory that, you know, God has granted me and all of us.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was a little nauseating, but I tell myself that a lot.
So I'm gonna hold a question, but I'm gonna say something. So if I was at Madison Square Garden and I was the coach of the New York Knicks, and we're in Game 7 of the NBA championship, and you're on the team, I want to pass the rock to Jen because
my God,
because Jen can perform under pressure. She's like, oh, and then she got in there and she delivered, and it was powerful and it was profound and it was.
Listen, it wasn't my idea.
Perfection.
I paid for that idea. I pay $175 an hour, but I live for it.
But you came through in the clutch. You know, you came through in the clutch. So no, that was fantastic. Such a great response. I want to probe that real quick, and then we'll get out of here. I promise I won't hold you all day. We'll finish up with after this question with you sharing how we can find you, and then I got a question regarding the beautiful sign of the theme of this show, obviously the message of the show, the brand, and all that. But you said dignity. Yeah. Give us a little bit more context or definition of what you mean by dignity. Like what do you see that as?
So for me, I see it as knowing who I am, knowing it's all those hokey expressions that they used to make fun of on Saturday Night Live. Like, you know, I am enough. I am good enough. I am strong enough. I am smart enough. But really, I mean, that's like to be grounded in those feelings, no matter what happens. You know, the world is turning and shit is flying and things are happening. But when you have dignity, and when I say dignity, I guess I mean a real sense of who you are, a real sense that, you know, you're a part of this world. You are an important, integral part of the world, and you have something special and to offer. I don't know what it is. Who knows what it is? But with or without all the material things or fame and fortune, right? I'm still the same me, and I still know that I am worthwhile. And period, like full stop, no matter what happens around me. It's not easy, right? Because when things start to fall apart, at least my history has been to just my self-esteem, my ego can crumble when something goes wrong. Another good thing about getting older is you know, you start to understand that no matter what shit is happening all around us, like I am still Jennifer Fessler. I still have, you know, all of Jennifer Fessler that there is to offer. And I don't need all the noise and the voices. I like it. It's really fun. It's really fun to be interviewed by you right now on a podcast, but I'm going to be okay without it. I mean, that's what I think is dignity is for me. Like I'm okay without your approval, and I'm okay without everybody loving me, you know?
Absolutely. Wow. I love the top you just put on the show right there. In fact, I would say, you know, we have to do, I always tease people out with this. I'm like, we're gonna have to do number 2 here. We're gonna have to do the second show and kind of leave them, because I had another question on top of what you just said there, which was, you know, and I'm gonna plant the seed. I'm gonna leave people kind of like they do in TV with that cliffhanger. Okay. And I'm gonna say, you know, the question would have been sort of, you know, the fame and the fortune, you mentioned that, and then the doubt and the disbelief. It's like, how do you not, and you don't have to answer it, It's difference is like when you get the fame and the fortune, how do you not let yourself go? But you kind of answered it probably in that dignity answer there. But
I don't know, but you know,
like,
man, I don't know. I haven't had fame and fortune my whole life. I've been on the Housewives for 4 episodes, so I don't know the answer. My hope is that just awareness in and of itself will help keep me grounded, like knowing and understanding that there is this, you know, there is a spectrum, and that I'm always trying to stay sort of even outside of it in dignity. Having that image will help. I've experienced, listen, I've had a lot of great things happen to me in my life, but this is new. So that's what I'm striving for. No promises.
Yeah.
I may just like turn around and in a couple of years, I'll be way too busy for you and way too important.
Dang it. Well, you better not forget. You better not forget me.
Paparazzi to talk to, man.
You ain't forgetting about me. Hell, I'm gonna be fighting through those paparazzis to get your attention.
You're not gonna have to fight, my friend. Believe me.
I hate now. And for those of you that did the demonstration she just did with what she was talking about, go watch it on YouTube, because we actually put this on YouTube. We're growing a channel. We could use some support there, ladies and gentlemen. So had to throw that in there. But now turning it back to you, Jen, where can we find you? What's the sites, all that good stuff? Let us have it.
Thank you. So in terms of F.MAJOR, the website is www.shopfmajor.com. And you'll get a better idea. You know, we talked a lot about my business, but in terms of the shoe itself, there's just 3 of them. There's 3-inch high heels. I have it in a black patent, in a black Napa leather, and then in a beige. But anyway, so if you're interested, please take a look. You know what, Manny, let's give you a discount code. So if you put in your promo code Manny, you're going to get 25% off.
Look at that.
How's that? Give me a minute to program it, but yeah, let's do that. Give me an hour, and that'll
come
be
on now.
Yeah.
I like it. So
that's where you can find F.MAJOR. In terms of Instagram, I'm Jen Fessler, 2 N's. And Shop F.MAJOR is the site, is my F.MAJOR page. Facebook, I guess I'm Jen Fessler too. Who knows? I can't even remember, but I'm the worst at this stuff. Let's see. Jennifer Gutterman Fessler. My maiden name, 1 T, Gutterman -Fessler.
Perfect.
But I'm sure nobody's jumping to follow me on Facebook. But anyway, if you want to follow me, that's where I am.
Yeah, but that's that. By the way,
Tuesday nights.
No, of course they would want to follow you. It's a testament to the growing audience that I have. So you can put the blame on me. You'd be like, yeah, that guy's got a measly couple people, and I don't say measly in terms of the people themselves.
I know that. I know that.
Great. I'm talking about we're building this thing, right? So building this plane out. So see, I'll take the pressure off you, right? I put it on me. I take the responsibility, throw it on my back.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome. You just remember me now. So okay, cool. Last question, right? Of course, always I gotta get it in there because it's who we are.
I love it.
What does always on the grow mean to you?
So isn't that the way we all want to live, right? I want my kids to feel like that. Like there's no stopping, especially now when we're talking about me specifically in this time and age, right? And that growth doesn't stop ever. And that's how we stay vital, right? And that's the beauty of life, is as opposed to saying stagnant, right? What's more exciting than always learning and growing and doing and, experimenting? And I think that's where I found my happiness, later in life, especially with these new adventures, because they are all about growth. You have got to grow to take on some of the stuff that I've taken on, and you've got to adapt, and you've got to, be open to learning. And so, I mean, I'm sure you have it on t-shirts, but I think that is something to live by.
Hey, now you get it. Yeah. Not that you didn't get it, but you said it perfectly.
I get it.
Yes. Thank you. Like, just thank you. I really, you can't necessarily, imagine somebody's on the edge of their seat, but I stand here and I got my, my little sports position of, nice base, but I felt like I was leaning in for this one because you just brought it, and I'm thankful for that. And I know that
made it easy. You are good at what you do.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Let's let this hit the airwaves, and, let's let people have some fun with it. There's always an option to come back for round 2 down the road when you're super cool and even cooler than you are now. And, I'm still Manny Vargas here. I'm trying to, hey, I'm still always on the ground. So
I'll be there, honey. So we'll do it.
Appreciate you. God bless you. Thank you so much for joining us, Jen.
Thanks
Jen
so much.
Fessler. Yeah.
Doesn't matter, honey. I'll answer to anything. And
You
Jenny,
rock.
Jennifer. All right. Take care. Be well.
Thank you.
Thanks, Manny. Bye, honey.